Hello, this is Dover in Washington taking introductions for the Enriching Gifts call. Who's joined us?
Good afternoon, Dover. It's James here from Sydney. How are you?
Hey, brother, I'm doing so well. How are you? Welcome to the call.
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
And I'm Lori. I am in Florida with my mom, but I live in Belgium normally.
Wow, Florida to Belgium. Welcome. How are you today? And appreciate you being on the call.
And Van and Veronica, Casa Grande, Arizona.
Van and Veronica, welcome to the call.
Thank you, Dover.
Nice to always have you here. Let me go back to Belgium. Like that's rare in Florida. Talk to me, Belgium. How are you?
Well, I'm good. I'm visiting my mom in Florida, and my mom's friend has been all over the plant enzymes for quite some time, and my mom has been having significant problems, and so she has got her on the enzymes, and I have questions, and I definitely don't want to dominate the question conversation, but you know, when there is time, I do have some, and it's all interesting to me because I'm more holistic, and my husband, and we're working on my mom.
Beautiful. What was your name again? I'm sorry.
Lori.
I thought it was Lori. Okay, Lori. So perfect. Stick around. This is the Enriching Gifts education call. We do these calls every week. Have been for decades, and I say we. I've been here for years. Ron's been here for decades. And Ron is the founder, formulator of those enzymes that you're speaking of. So, and I love the holistic side of it. I love the fact that your mom's getting results. So, and you're not going to dominate anything. Believe me, Ron will pick up the phone anytime in the morning, noon or night, and he's just going to pour into us. So sit back and relax, and we'll get your questions
I do
answered.
have a question. Is there a way to get on the Zoom, like where you see it? Because I'm just getting the phone one.
Yes, there is. So if you go to, are you familiar with Zoom, the Zoom app in general?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you want to write down this meeting ID, I can give it to you, or I can, yeah, that'd probably be the easiest.
For Zoom? Okay, yep.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, meeting ID is 711-729-7624.
Yeah, it didn't let me in for some reason, but I'll try again.
Yeah, try again, and we'll make sure that we let you in, because that might have been the problem. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate you being here. Anyone else before we get started? Last second introductions. Who else has joined us?
This is Ronnie in Texas.
Hey, Ronnie, welcome to the call. Good to hear from you.
And I will tell you on that, on your website.
Ron in Montana.
Hey, Ron, welcome, brother.
Yeah.
Ronnie, what were you saying on the website?
On the homepage on the website, they used to have that Zoom. All you had to do is click on it and you went straight to it, but that's gone now. So I actually had to log in another way tonight. It was nice when that was on your homepage and all you had to do is click on it.
Well,
how did you log into that?
I went to zoom.us and then put in HTTPS semicolon TINYC/EGCALL.
Okay, so I say that again, HTTPS.
And
hey,
then
Ronnie.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Ronnie, pardon the interruption. I just want to see if we can
Put that up.
Make this a little bit more user friendly. So what we want to do is, if you're Lori, go to zoom.us.
Yeah, I was there.
And when you go to zoom.us, there's going to be on the top of the page on the right side towards the middle will be a link that says join meeting.
Yeah, I did that.
And when you click join meeting, it's going to take you to a page that says enter the meeting ID or personal link name.
Yeah, I did do that, and it says the page is invalid.
Okay, and are you sure that you entered the correct meeting ID?
711-729-7624.
That is correct.
Yeah, so when I hit join, it says Safari can't open the page because the address is invalid.
Got it. So can you try another browser? Try Chrome or try Edge. or Firefox.
Let me see. Hang on just a second.
And Lori, while you're doing that, we're gonna get moving
Yeah, go
on with the
ahead.
call, but let's make sure you're dialed in, and I'll touch back with
Okay.
you in just a minute. All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Welcome everybody. Man, exciting. Here we are, December 8th. The year is, to me, it's flown by. It's been a beautiful year, but it's been extremely fast. And I feel like, due to some of the COVID, I haven't done much, but I guess maybe we have, because life has gone really quick. So this is the Enriching Gifts Education Call. My name is Dover, as I stated earlier, calling in from the great state of Washington. And it's been my great pleasure to know our host for the call for literally over a decade, almost 15 years. Ron's been a part of my life, and he's been a blessing. He's truly been he's truly enriched my lives and many lives around me, friends and family alike, because of not only the information and lot he'll share with us, but what he's put together. The product line that he's created, that he's founded, that he's formulated, has really been a game changer. And I say that from a position of, I'm not the doctor that just got out of medical school and is going to do brain surgery. I'm the individual who's experienced it. So in other words, I've done the brain surgery. I've used the product. I've been exposed to the education. And so it's not by chance that each and every one of you are here this evening. We're supposed to be here. You're supposed to fly from Belgium to Florida, Lori, to meet with your mom. It's not by chance that we're on this call. So without further ado, and Lori, before I bring out Ron, I just want to touch back with you. Were you able to make that work for you yet?
Well, I'm working on it right now.
Okay, perfect.
If I can't, that's fine. I'll be here next week, and I'll work on it between now and then. At least
Awesome.
I've got the phone portion.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, with that said, Ron, let me bring you out. Let me just say thank you, brother. I know we thank you all the time. We actually did a call a few weeks ago that really touched you in a positive way, and that made me feel good. But what makes me feel even better is that you're around with us, and that you can pour into us like you have, because in my opinion, no more, I'll just say it this way. There's never been a better time to know more about how you can prevent disease and illness in your life than right now. And Ron, thank you. I bring you out. I appreciate you. We love you for all that you do. We know you've been going through a lot of challenges in your life with family and with COVID and alike. However, you show up, brother. You show up each and every week, and we love you for that. We appreciate you. So Ron Schneider, the call's yours. I'm here on standby, whatever I can do to support you. Welcome.
Thank you, Dover. Appreciate it so much, and welcome to everybody this evening. And yeah, we got a great call coming on. I just got a text. There's people having problems getting on the phone. That was Kalana from Hawaii, Dover. You might want to check with him. But anyways, yeah, welcome everybody.
Hey, Ron,
Ron,
really quick. Pardon the interruption. I just want to make this announcement because I'm looking at it myself. I just want everyone to know, a quick update before Ron gets going here. We have transitioned, and there's Kolana there, perfect. So we have transitioned from a server that was not serving us, and to a server that is now serving us very well. So the website in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, has gone through a migration to a new platform to protect everyone. And I kind of made the mistake. I made the mistake last week, and Roderick corrected me. And Roderick is behind the scenes working on a lot of the IT type of stuff. But I made the mistake of saying that Enriching Gifts was hacked. And I think what it did is it created an environment of individuals thinking that they were compromised. That it was not accurate. There was an opportunity to improve on our server. When I say our server, I mean the Enriching Gifts website, enriching-gifts.com. And so the migration had taken place, and I will follow up as you get going here with the call, Ron, with Roderick, and we'll get that information, as Ronnie said, for the Zoom calls back on the front page of the website. So our apologies that it's not there. I didn't pick up on that. Shame on me, but it will be corrected tonight. So thank you. Call's all yours, Ron.
Okay. And I just want to remind you, might want to call Kalana because he's trying to get in. I know that these calls are usually chopped off after about the first 10 minutes for interest.
Oh, I'm in.
Anyway,
I'm in, Ron. I'm in here. Thank you. I found it.
Oh, okay, great.
We hear you, brother.
Good, bud. Thank you. Hey,
Yeah,
Dover,
welcome
right
from
on,
Hawaii.
Man,
All right,
right
so
on
let's
Portland,
get
but
started
from
tonight.
Hawaii.
Yeah, I just got a text this evening, not more than an hour before this call started. And the guy asked me, he says, well, what do you think of this character? That was his exact words. And it was a doctor talking about digestive enzymes and taking them on an empty stomach as an anti-inflammatory. And, that's something I haven't really talked about in a long time. And I kept a page of the formula. Now, again, it's $97 for a 60 count bottle. But keep in mind, those activities and values on that label is only going to be equal to 30 servings, 30 capsules. And even when you look at the serving size, to get to 120,000 of HUTs per 2 capsules, and by the way, their milligrams are way more than ours, so they aren't even very concentrated. But you get to 120,000. Remember, that's per 2 capsules, so you got to divide that in half, which is only going to give you 60,000 HUTs of protease per capsule. Keep in mind, ours are 132,000 HUTs of protease per capsule. So when you start multiplying 3 to get to 270 capsules, or 90 servings, man, oh man, you're multiplying 9 times 9. That's an $800 bottle product that they're talking about there. And I pointed out there's no minerals. There's no enzyme activating minerals, not one in the whole formula. And that's the biggest downfall with the entire enzyme industry ever since I've gotten started over 32 years ago. Minerals need cofactors. They either need nutrients or minerals. Enzymes do not work by themselves. Not one single enzyme can initiate a biochemical reaction by itself. It needs minerals, it needs amino acids, it needs nutrients. But the main thing is most of them are activated with minerals. That's why minerals in your daily diet are so critically important. In fact, when you go looking down a blood test, calcium, magnesium, B12, folic acid, all of these different vitamins and nutrients, about half of a blood test is based upon minerals, iron for your red blood cells. So again, it's really important to really understand what a good comprehensive enzyme formula is all about. And like I said, I saw this major flaw in the industry when I very first got started. And I was one of those people at the right place at the right time. Because as I was telling Van, who actually called me and sent me this information, I said, yeah, and you could tell this guy is not an expert. He said that all enzymes end in ASE. Well, that's not true. There's rutin, there's cathepsin, there's pepsin, trypsin, chymotrypsin. Those all end in IN. So anything that an enzyme that was identified pre-1968 is going to end in an IN. Anything identified as an enzyme after 1968 ends in ASE. So enzymes can be identified by the last 2 letters or 3 letters, either IN or ASE, just like an amino acid ends in INE all the time except for tryptophan. Outside of that, I don't think I've seen one single amino acid that didn't end in INE other than tryptophan. So, you kind of get used to looking and learning about how things, it's the same way in medicine. You can just tell by the last 3 letters or the last word of about a 3-4 word composition exactly what that drug is all about, or what part of the body it affects, or what's cirrhosis of the liver. SIS is inflammation or enlargement. Things like that. And so it's really helpful to understand that. I'm not saying everybody has to go out and get educated about and have a detailed understanding about it, but it's just some of the basic principles. Like I watched the guy's video. I could tell he's somebody relatively new into the enzyme industry. He's a doctor, which kind of is rare for having an MD doctor promote stuff, especially natural products and enzymes. But I'm glad he is trying. But that's where I get a little bit kind of perturbed, and I shouldn't. After all these decades, I should just let people go along, make their mistakes, do the best they can, and try not to judge too much. But I put so much energy and life focus on all of my time for the last 32 years in nothing but enzymes and health. And like I was telling Van, I said, it is still pretty amazing. 32 years later, and they're still coming out with new enzyme products and different people to help promote enzymes. And the way to promote enzymes haven't changed at all. He's not saying anything that I didn't say way back in 1990 and 1991, 95, 97 through 2004 when I was working with Nelson Mandela in the whole country of continent of Africa. I think there's 32 countries on that continent, and I worked with every single one of them. And this used to be one of the things to where he's not. It's kind of exciting to think if you're living in pain. So many people have pain and inflammation, especially me with my damaged feet and stuff. But if you take them on an empty stomach, they do work. Why? Because the enzyme activity isn't being used up digesting your meal. They can go right to the impurities that are circulating in the blood. They can go right to the outer membrane in the cell structure, where you have all these inflammatory proteins like fibrin, chondroitin, things of that nature. Fibrinogen is another one. And they can actually dissolve this. And this is what creates the inflammatory process inside the human body, is these excess of different kinds of proteins that are released, mostly by the liver, but there are a couple different organs that are released, but they have a histamine reaction, an inflammatory reaction. And if you take the enzymes on an empty stomach, and before I go any further, I want to make this really, really clear, especially with the Enriching Gifts plant enzyme formula. This is the most potent, highest activity formula anywhere on the planet Earth per capsule, bar none, not even close. So if you're going to take it on an empty stomach, I don't encourage anybody ever to take more than 1 to 2 capsules on an empty stomach in between meals or at bedtime. At bedtime, you might get away taking 3 just before you lay your head on the pillow. And what it's going to do, it's going to break down the inflammation created by things that came into your body during your meals, during the daytime, allergens, viruses, so on and so forth. All that stuff's going to enter your body. And when you take them at night, all those enzymes are going to finish digesting what you didn't take enough enzymes to digest your meals you consumed during the day. But more importantly, it is going to break down the fibrinogen and all those different inflammatory proteins that your body's releasing. It's going to just break them down and digest them. It does not inhibit the body from doing what it's designed to do in any way, shape, or form. It's just going to dissolve them because they're simple proteins. They're not cell structures that have enzyme inhibiting protein markers, which prevents enzyme interaction with the cell membrane or with that substance. These are just simply proteins released by the body to induce an inflammatory process, which is the first response the body has to protect itself. Inflammation slows blood, so it isolates things that are trying to spread and get into and throughout the body. So that's the first thing. But like I said, I never really talk about this much anymore. It's been a lot of years, probably even maybe a decade and a half, since I talked about the true benefits of taking enzymes in between your meals, and especially at bedtime, because you can literally increase your oxygenation from an 89, 93%, literally up to 99 and 100%, which changes the alkalinity, which improves the overall cellular functioning of the body when it tries to heal itself, repair itself, and regenerate itself while you're sleeping. That oxygenation increase is huge for the efficiency, effectiveness of your body's healing potential. And then you've got maximum nutrition absorption because everything is fully digested. And what, like I said earlier, what might not have gotten fully digested because you ate a bigger meal and didn't take enough enzymes to fully digest that, those enzymes at night, those 3 before you go to bed, that's definitely going to digest everything and anything in the bloodstream. And we've done all kinds of blood microscopy studies on this and stuff. It is truly just amazing to see all the coagulation, all the junk, and all the garbage in the blood, and literally in an hour or less, it's completely clean, pristine, perfect. I mean, you could make a poster out of anybody's blood. And that's what everybody should be doing. Now, I wouldn't recommend taking and again, hopefully you'll appreciate my honesty. Most people be sitting there trying to, oh yeah, you want to take it every meal, take it in between meals, take it this, trying to promote the heck out of them and use as much as they can so they can make money off of it. I don't encourage people to take it in between the meals unless they really have truly poor digestion, chronic constipation, and really bad inflammation conditions and diseases, such as diabetes. I mean, diabetics are under chronic, constant, real bad inflammation. So those are the kind of conditions and environments you want to go ahead and consume enzymes on an empty stomach. And constipation is one of those big ones. Constipation is a combination of mostly lack of enzymes production by your own body's organs, your pancreas and your liver and so on and so forth. And it's also another combination of dehydration. People that are chronically constipated definitely don't drink anywhere near as much water as their body and cellular structure needs. Everybody, this is for an individual, because we all vary and we all are different in such a great degree. But the one constant is you need an ounce of water for every 2 pounds of body weight. So, example, if I weigh 250 pounds, I need 125 ounces of water to be consumed daily, every single day. And at least 50% of that should be consumed within the first 4 hours after you waking up and getting out of bed. Think about that. 50% of your daily requirement needs should be consumed within the first 4 hours after you getting out of bed in the morning and starting your day. Why? Because you literally slept for 8 to 10 hours with no water consumption whatsoever. So your body is dehydrated. It didn't stop functioning all night long. And by the way, all enzymes in the human body are hydrolytically activated, meaning they will not work without water, hydration. Okay? So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, talk about that. I think that's probably all I'm going to be talking about tonight. I really want to have Laura and other people, Kalana, that came on the call, have time for them to interact and ask their questions, and so I can hopefully help them out with some really good clarifying answers. So, Dover, go ahead and open it up for conferencing, if you would. And if anybody has any questions regarding the presentation and the comments I just made, please feel free to ask. Because my job is to bring complete clarity and understanding to any health and drug situation as best I can on these calls. That's why I come on here each and every single week. So.
Absolutely. And before we take the questions, Steve and others, we will be exposing the link. We'll be sharing the link with everyone on the site. There's a migration that took place, so bear with us. We got to get a few things updated on the site and get it back to where it looks where it's supposed to be. So, our apologies for not having that prepared during the migration. Anyone with a question, please unmute yourself. Lori, if now's the time, please ask away. If anyone else has a question or comment, just unmute yourself. And Ron is here for us. So who has a question?
It's Joe Bandelos. How are you?
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Ron, I take these enzymes in the morning, one in the morning and one at night before I go to bed, and I'm going to probably boost that up to 2. But in the morning when I take them, I usually take a daily detox in the morning also, and a couple of the others, like aloes and some other things.
Right.
When you say on an empty stomach, is that okay to take it with the other items, the other supplements?
Oh, absolutely. But like I said,
Okay.
if you're really trying to address inflammation,
Yes.
And cleaning the blood and increasing alkalinity and oxygenation, those should be taken on an empty stomach at least an hour and a half, 2 hours away from any meal.
All right, but
Does
Because
that include
if you take them too close to a meal, they're just going to be used up digesting the meal or finishing
the other
digesting the meal you just consumed.
the other supplements are fine.
Yeah, oh yeah, you can take all
Okay.
the supplements except for the Steromax with your meals.
Right.
Every single supplement we have, with the exception of Steromax, and let me just stress this one more time. I don't talk about this near enough as much either. Do not take our Coral Life calcium product with your meals. It's all calcium. It's not little bits of calcium like the multivitamin. It's all calcium. And the type of calcium that I have, the coral calcium, it's very, very quickly broken down and utilized by the body. And you do not want calcium in the stomach acid when your body's trying to produce acid to activate the digestive process, because it completely neutralizes acidity on contact. That's how your body controls the acidity alkalinity balance of pH. It releases calcium, circulates it in the blood so that there's no acid from the digestive stomach or the acid stomach getting absorbed in the bloodstream. There's always a constant supply of calcium in the bloodstream because that can never, ever go anywhere near acidity. It's always very high alkalinity because it's oxygen content.
Right.
But yeah,
I
like I
always
said,
remember you saying that. And what I usually do is take one at night, but just before I go to bed. Would you not suggest that? Because if there's any food in the stomach, just to take the enzymes.
oh yeah, you take the enzymes with or without the food. Like I said, in order for you to address inflammation problems, that has to be taken away from the meals by at least an hour, a couple hours, an hour and a half before. Like you take the Steromax in the morning, you could actually take a digestive enzyme capsule or two, just to get rid of the inflammation and stuff. That's not going to alter or diminish the effects of the Steromax at all.
Oh, okay.
So that would be one. That would be one really good. Yeah, that would be one really good time if you're addressing inflammation issues to take the couple capsules of enzymes with your Steromax that hour and a half before your morning meal or any other vitamin or nutrient consumption. And then, like I said, the other time is at night. And this we have a quick dissolve capsule. You know, that's the nice thing about taking it in between meals. But you want to take it at least 2 hours to 3 hours after your meal and at least an hour and a half before your next meal. That's ideally the best time because you're never going to have a truly empty stomach when you're eating 2 and 3 meals a day as you're going throughout the day. You'll have them minimized. And again, if you take enough enzymes, it only takes about a half hour to fully digest, 45 minutes at the most, to fully digest that meal just with the capsules that we have in our enzymes that we have in our capsules. So you can clean up and get that meal digested and in the bloodstream and still have a fairly empty stomach even after a couple hours after consuming the meal. And again, we have all the ionic minerals to activate every single enzyme in our formula that we produce. No other company in the entire planet has that. None. Even the one that was just faxed to me tonight, I faxed back to Van. I said, you notice one thing? No minerals again in their overall formula. None, not a one. And that's why I said this guy's new. He really doesn't know much about enzymes. He's kind of coming on and kind of dragging the coattails of something that's been popular for over 30 years. And that's the other thing I want to tell people. Enzymes have never gone away. They've only increased in popularity. And now even you have mainstream medical doctors prescribing enzymes, similar type of enzymes like what we use. For inflammation, for speeding up surgery recoveries, for healing, for all kinds of just great stuff. I mean, I'm happy. I always said, if anybody's going to make enzymes the number one supplement in the world, that was my goal before I ever passed and left this earth. Because if you ever had to take one single pill that would give you the biggest bang for your buck, take an enzyme, because it makes every single nutrient, regardless of the source it comes from, work that much better and increases nutritional absorption by hundreds, 500, 700% increase to delivery in a usable form at the cellular level. No other product can do that. And no other product will interact with every single nutrient that the body needs, other than a good full spectrum digestive enzyme that has all of the activity and the minerals to activate those enzymes. So thanks for sharing, Joe. Hopefully I answered. That's a long answer, but hopefully you got your answer you're looking for out of that.
Absolutely, and I greatly appreciate it. But last question on the coral calcium. Should we take the coral calcium at night because there's still food in our stomach, or no?
Absolutely, you should. If you're going to take calcium supplements should always be taken about an hour before your morning meal and then taken last time at night. That way all your digestion and stuff is done. Now you're just cleaning up the bloodstream and trying to support the healing and regeneration processes of your body as you go to sleep.
Very good. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Ron, when you say that, does that include like coffee?
When I say take enzymes coffee? No, you can take enzymes with coffee. Coffee's not got a lot of nutrition in it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean caffeine and that kind of stuff. I wouldn't call those. Yeah, a snack or a meal. You want to kind of stay away from that. Yeah, if you're addressing the inflammation issues and stuff, and like I said, all proteases. And again, here, let me just for real clear content. And I don't want to beat up on this guy that made this video. I'm glad somebody's still trying to get the word out in any way that we can. But proteases are the ones that reduce inflammation, because all protein that's released by the body are protein factors. They're not based on fats. They're not based on carbohydrates. They're not based on sugars. They're all proteins. So in order for a anti-inflammatory process to occur or reducing inflammation in the body, you have to have a protease interacting with that substance. Only proteases interact with protein-based substances. So just wanted to make that very, very clear, because in his video, and I know a lot of companies that promote digestive enzymes as anti-inflammatories, but to be very accurate, only protease enzymes within that overall formulation are the anti-inflammatory enzyme factors. Okay. So what else did you have for a question? Laura? I think it was Laura.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have like several, so I don't want to dominate the conversation.
Okay, Laura. No. Hey, let me tell you something. This is why I do these calls. I don't care if one person dominates the conversation for the whole night. I really don't. In fact, I encourage every single question. I don't limit these calls to an hour, half hour. I have no limits, nothing.
Okay.
I have no time limits on my personal time either. People call me at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I'll say, you're welcome to call me anytime. But if you're going to call me at that hour, it better be damn important.
I normally live in Belgium. You don't want to say that. We're 6 hours ahead. I'll be calling you at 3 a.m.
Well, like I said, I don't mind, but you better have a good reason.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just kind of give you a rundown of what's going on. A brief summary is I normally live in Belgium. I'm here because my mom had a really bad fall, and she's going to be 84
How old is your
in
mom?
March.
Okay.
Well, she's
84,
going to be 84
okay.
in March. And fortunately, nothing, like she didn't break anything, but she's really badly bruised. And so her neighbor, Sue Siegel, has been using your enzymes.
Yep,
You know Sue. Yeah.
I know Sue.
Okay.
Yeah, she's one of those people that calls me all the time.
I know. I love it.
I'm on the call.
Okay.
Are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Yep, she is.
Okay.
Yep, we're talking about her.
Yep.
All right.
And so,
go ahead.
So the question, Sue had mom to get some of the enzymes, and so she has two issues going on. Her fall was related to, we thought, blood pressure, but now we think that it's heart. And I can go into that, but I'm not as concerned with that unless you tell me that it's correlated.
Well, I'd like to go into that just so I get a very clear understanding, because when you say, well, we thought it was blood pressure and then we thought it was the heart, those are one and the same thing. Blood pressure is created from the heart. It's regulated by the heart. So I just want to get clarity on where you're going.
She's been
so we can
having
really address this properly.
she's been having dizzy spells.
Okay, from too high a blood pressure?
Yes, but I got her on the enzymes because she was diagnosed with IBS.
Okay.
So she has, the thing is that she has two things going on. The first thing is she has high blood pressure, but then it drops as well. And not only that, but when we went to the doctor 2 days ago, her oxygen levels were at 92%. Now, here's the thing. When I asked him, I said, well, is 92% good? Yeah, it's good.
No, it's not really good. Anything below 94% is depriving the body of necessary oxygen. Any cardiologist could have told you that if he had half a education.
Right. Well, this is a cardiologist office by the nurse.
Okay.
Yeah. So just FYI. But in getting to several things, and so I'm going to bump up and I'm going to go to her IBS. She has gotten to the point to where before she was taking the enzymes that she really didn't want to eat because she didn't know, and she doesn't live in a big apartment or condo. It's not big, but there were times where she couldn't make it to the bathroom without having an accident. So she didn't even want to go out. She didn't want to eat. She didn't want to cook. She didn't want to do anything. Yeah. And so Sue, so what we had going on was Sue and myself and another lady who was a former nurse, because her doctor has not been doing what they were supposed to be doing, which might be a godsend because of the plant enzymes. We've been diagnosing and being her doctor and saying, okay, you need to do this. Sue's been working on her getting on plant enzymes, your plant enzymes and her probiotics. I've been working on getting her on the greens and mushrooms, which all the different, types of mushrooms that do, a phenomenal job inside your body. But so I feel like, I know I'm all over the map, but it's just because we've got these two issues going on. And so, we might be rounding the corner if she's got this heart issue. The doctor said that she would probably have to have a pacemaker put in. I mean, she's going to be 84 and she's never had any problems.
So does she have an arrhythmia?
Well, so that's what the doctor thinks. So what? Go ahead.
Okay. No, that's the only reason that I could think that anybody would put in a pacemaker is because of an arrhythmia, which is an irregular heart.
So what he did was he listened to her chest in the front and in the back, and then he listened to it in her neck. And after that, he said, have you ever been told that you've had an arrhythmia? And she said, no. And so I explained to her what it is. And he said, I want you to have an echocardiogram. I want you to have a heart monitor. And then when I told him I flew in from Belgium, he said, you know what, let's throw another test in there for good measure. And let's do a carotid artery test. And so
you can go in and get those through an ultrasound by any of those mobile medical centers. They do those tests through an ultrasound. Almost anybody can do that at any hospital. That's not that difficult of a test to do.
And she had the carotid artery test yesterday, and she's having the echocardiogram tomorrow, and she's wearing the heart monitor right now. So, but one of the things that I've noticed is, so I got here last Thursday. I got late Thursday night, and her energy levels were down, and there's a lot going on. But I do know, like, it was either Friday or Saturday, she didn't quite make it to the bathroom. And so the enzymes came on Saturday, and ever since she's been taking them, she has not had an accident. She's been able to make it to the bathroom. And at first it wasn't, and I know this is TMI, I got it, whatever.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it wasn't solid, but it's becoming more solid. And so I think I'm giving her 3 enzymes with every meal. And if she has a snack, I give her 1. And so, for her situation, should she be taking, so this is my first question. So you kind of got a rundown of her. So my first question is, during the meals for her situation, should she be taking 3 enzymes? And she's on the full spectrum, not the half spectrum. Sue, I
honestly would only take 2, because once you get cleaned out and you start to reduce that inflammation from the IBS, once that all starts to transfer, if you take 3, you could actually induce diarrhea because you're getting too much digestion now.
Okay.
So just look for that going forward. If she starts getting diarrhea and stuff, I mean, you can give her the 3 to get her cleaned out, and that will help clean out. And then also something else you guys should really seriously consider is the Aloe Ace Max. Aloe Ace Max is the healing herb of the body. Those polysaccharides, and they're so concentrated in our blend, man, oh man, oh man, you can really speed up healing. Proteases will speed up the healing process by itself, but that aloe product we got, oh my gosh, you can cut healing by about 75%. It really speeds up the cellular reproductive rate of the human body.
And so when you talk about the aloe being a healing herb, so is it typically only used when you're needing a healing process and then you save?
No. It's just like amino acids. Every single cell in the human body reproduces itself. And when you can give somebody an ingredient or a nutrient that will actually interact with the body in a natural way that could speed up the reproduction of a new cell to replace an old damaged cell that's being used, 2.74%, almost 3 times faster than the body can do it on its own. That is going to produce amazing results. Amazing results.
Okay, so it speeds up the reproduction of new cells. And so, and I don't know if you know this or not, and I'm going to ask it, but so the new cells in a body of someone of her age, and I know that this is very relative, but you know, how many new cells is she going to have?
Well, for one thing, at her age, the body slows way down in its cellular reproductive rate capacity. That's why at her age, if she fell or broke her hip, chances are she'd die from it because it never would heal. You just don't have the genetics and the healing capacity for cellular turnover at that age. That's why I said the aloe max would dramatically help. And the older you get, the more effective that you're going to see the results of the aloe max product on you. At that age, the body needs all the reproductive help it can get. And when you talk about,
like at my age, I'm 55. That should be something that should be incorporated into my everyday regime.
Absolutely. I tell anybody over the age of 22 should be taking an aloe and a digestive enzyme every single day.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. Yep. By the time, here, let me just give you a couple of fundamental facts, and excuse me for everybody on the call for spewing this out, but it's important to this context of this conversation. You know, as the body ages, by the time you're 38 to 42, your body produces less than 50% of the enzymes for digestion and processing of your meals every single day. Did you hear what I said?
I did.
By the time you're 38 to 42, your body produces 50% or less than it did at age 18. And at age 18, you've fully developed your whole GI tract, your digestive capability, and everything else. And normally, you're only going to lose at a rate of about 8 to 10% every decade you live. But it takes so much enzyme activity to put you through those puberty years, through those growth sprouts, everything else. So by the time the average person reaches the age of 18 to 22, his body's already used over 30% of his lifespan's enzyme production capability. By the time you're 22, you're over 30%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's because 15, 20% was all used up for processing all those huge meals through your body between the ages of 8 and 18 years old.
Yeah.
Your body has, I mean, think about how much food a teenager consumes. You know, you got to go out and get a job. I mean, my mom actually told me that. You're eating me out of house and home. What do you got, a hollow leg? I mean, where are you putting all that stuff? And, gee, she eat enough for 3 of us. And I heard it all when I was growing up. All of that stuff takes energy, and all of that stuff takes enzymes. And your body has a finite amount of cells that it will reproduce over your entire lifespan programmed into your genetics. It's called the telomere, the length of the telomere, the ends caps of the DNA and chromosomal strands. Those length of those telomeres dictate how many times a cell can reproduce itself over your entire lifespan. And there's ways you can increase that, but there's ways you can shorten that lifespan too, like a high calorie, sugar-laden, fatty diet, very sedentary lifestyle. All those things are going to shorten your lifespan. And the biggest thing that'll shorten a lifespan is overconsumption of food, because the digestive process and all the enzymes involved in that consume more energy in a 24-hour period than the rest of the activities and the metabolic functioning of the human body combined.
Okay. So that
It's 50 to
brings me my next
70% more, in
question.
fact. Yeah.
Yeah. So that brings me to my next question. Okay. So just theoretically, let's say that she, in trying to get her system intact, because she, I mean, she's been eating well, with me here, and I cook everything. I don't eat a lot of processed food, blah, 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 blah. So let's say that I got greens, a jar of greens that is low heat processed. So the nutrients are still in it. The same with the reds, and protein, like a good protein powder. And I gave her that once or twice a day, along with the enzymes. Would she not then be getting the nutrients that she needs, for the most part, at a very low rate, that her body is not like just massively trying to process this food? Wouldn't that be
It's a lower calorie diet, which is a much easier diet to process by the human body with less energy. Absolutely.
And you're still getting the nutrients that you need.
Correct.
So
correct. Yeah.
Right.
And at her age, she's not going to have a whole lot of activity burning up calories and stuff.
Exactly.
So there's no need to bring in a whole lot of calories during your meal to support something that she's not doing.
Right.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. You're
to
correct.
Give her the enzymes, along with a good quality green, a good quality red, and then a protein powder. I mean, what else would she need?
Probably probiotics and the Aloe Max. That's really all you need. And then
Right.
as long as you got a really good source of nutrients, you really don't need the multivitamin, because that's just a backup to support a poor diet with lack of nutrients in it. Yeah.
So not the sterile or whatever. So
Sterols are for the immune system. They're totally
Okay.
different. They have nothing to do with nutrition. The glucoside that's in the sprouts of the 4 or 5 sprouts that we use in the formula, that glucoside was actually identified by Professor Carl Pagel out of Natal Medical Center outside of Durban, South Africa. And why he didn't win a Nobel Prize for that discovery, I will never know in a million years or in my whole lifetime. That was one of the most significant breakthroughs that a human being can actually transform through their body. To increase your immune system cell size by 5 to 6 times larger cells, and at the end of that, increase overall efficiency of functioning by as much as 759% increase.
Yeah.
No disease, not even the Omicron mutated virus from the COVID thing's even going to get to you. And like I said, I never, ever, ever get sick. I mean, I haven't had a cold since April 23rd, 1984.
Yeah. Oh, is that when that pastor came to you? April 23rd.
What's that?
I remember that date.
April, no, that's not the pastor. No, that's April 23rd, 1984, since the very last time I've ever had a cold.
Oh, wow.
I don't ever get colds. And anybody's welcome to see my medical records. You'll never once see me in there for a cold or a flu or anything like that.
Yeah.
In fact, the last time I went in, because of the severe burns on my feet, I had severe 3rd-degree burns on both the bottom of my feet, as Dover knows. We were out in Las Vegas. He was able to see them fresh. But outside of that, when I went in for that, my doctor, Joy Huber's her name, she asked me, when was the last time you've seen a doctor? And we identified it was over 31 years since I'd actually seen a medical professional, because she said she couldn't find my records for my cholesterol levels, that on it. And she goes, do you have a medical rec? I know you have to have one. I said, yeah, I was born right here in Miles City, Holy Rosary. But we had to go back 33, 34 years to find a medical record from the last time I'd actually seen a doctor. And she asked me how many drugs I was on. I said, none. I don't take drugs. I have nothing wrong with me. And she was plumb floored and shocked at my blood work and my cholesterol and all that stuff. She just says, you're an alien. You don't see this in anybody else. So
so that brings me to another question. My husband is, for the most part, like, he almost always eats vegan.
Okay.
And he wasn't always that way. He used to be a huge meat and potato. He went to the doctor, like, you're going to have to get on meds. And he's like, no, I'm
Yeah.
going cold turkey, you know, blah, blah, blah. So he's been vegan for now 12 plus years. And he also does intermittent fasting. And the reason that he does that is because if he eats, because he still works, he gets tired, and he's like, you know, if I do intermittent fasting, I just don't have that. I don't have any loss during the day, blah, 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 blah. And
Right,
so,
but now just let me stop you right there so I can bring
Yeah.
clarity to
Hey,
this
Ron.
moment.
Ron.
Yeah.
Ron, let me
Yeah.
tee this one up, please. I don't get to
Okay.
talk much, and I'm
All right.
excited.
Okay.
And there's something you said to me years ago, over a decade ago, that has always rang loud and clear to me. And that is this: what makes a good diet bad, or what makes a diet good, or what makes a diet bad, is not necessarily the food we consume. It's the body's ability
Right.
to break down
right.
and eliminate the toxicity and absorb the nutrients. And Ron told me years ago, he said, Dover, how does Olivia Newton-John get cancer? How does Lance Armstrong get cancer? They're vegetarian, they're vegan, they're this, they're that. I said, I don't know how, Ron. Their body's not breaking down the food they consume. It becomes toxic. That's the tee up, Ron. It's all yours.
Okay.
Yeah, even
So
vegan,
let me-
even
let-
vegan
wait, hang on,
diet.
I know.
Yep,
Hang
go
on.
ahead.
Before we, because I know people go to vegetarian and vegan for health reasons, but I will say
Mhm.
this. So we have been married for 31 years, been together for 36 years. So we met each other right after high school, and he told me in the beginning, he said, I'm allergic to milk and cheese, because he hated it so much. He, like, dairy to him is just so nasty, and it's always been that way. So I do think that there are certain people that do have the particular body, you know, whatever, that are just naturally that way.
Well, no,
For that.
what's happening
Ron.
when you have
Ron, let
When
me,
you have a
Ron, let me get it, Ron. Let me get it. I'm
Okay.
feeling it,
Sure.
because
Go ahead.
I'm like her husband. And
Okay.
Lori, 2005, 2006, first time I met Ron Schneider, was in Cancun physically. We talked on the phone prior. I was in Cancun, Mexico. I was at the Moon Palace Resort, and we had a bunch of people speaking, and Ron was, we were blessed to have Ron with us. And I went to the nacho bar. And I had yes, but I also love dairy, and I was also lactose intolerant.
He's never
Yes,
liked it.
because it doesn't agree with his system. So I've heard you talk about this lactose intolerance without really saying that's what it was, and your husband, how he feels. That's what drew me to Ron. I was like, Ron, I heard you speak last night at our keynote speaking event, and do you have some time? And I had a little bit of in, because I was one of the ones that organized the seminar, and at least I thought I did. And he was like, hey, I think it was like 10, it was late at night. He was going around the clock. He said, yeah, let's put your blood under the microscope. He took my blood. He said, okay, we're going to give you one enzyme, and let's just see how you feel, and we'll put your blood back under the microscope. I took that enzyme, and I literally, within 10 to 15 minutes, as he was talking and redrawing my blood and putting it under the cover slip with the slide, I could feel something in my stomach, the gas, the bloating, it was breaking down. I was like, something's going on here. He showed me the blood again, totally changed my whole world. Since then, I'm on this call. I've invested in a microscope. I became a microscopist. I've used this product for over a decade and have shared it with a lot of other people, because that's what I believe in.
So you don't have any problems whatsoever?
Oh no, I eat ice cream for fun. I eat pizza for fun. I do eggs for fun. I do all of these things that I did before that would literally have me hunched over. And to be quite frank with you on this call, and nobody else listened, but I would fart my butt off. Like I had gas.
Yeah.
It was terrible. And stomach aches. And now, that was then. Now, I don't eat a lot of it, just because, like your husband, it doesn't really appeal to me anymore. But when I do, no problem. I pop my enzymes with my meals, and it's life is normal. It's a difference.
Huh.
Yeah. So Ron, anything you want to add to that? I just want to share that story with everyone because that's really what drew me to what you do in your product line. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring clarity to that whole topic. So when your husband or anybody else doesn't feel good because of certain foods that they consume, all your body is telling you that your body genetically is deficient in a specific enzyme that interacts and digests that protein, fat, carbohydrate, sugar, whatever it is. Like, for example, celiac sprue disease, the gluten intolerance that about 25% of the American public, over 70 million people in America alone, are gluten intolerant. Well, every single one of those people are missing an enzyme called invertase. Invertase is the enzyme that breaks down gluten products. If you're lactose intolerant, such as the dairy products, ice cream, butter, anything from dairy, then you're missing the enzyme called lactase. There's a popular store brand called Lactaid. That's the name of the product, and that's high in lactase enzymes. So you take that, and now all of a sudden, things that would gas you up, bloat you up, make you sore as hell, now all of a sudden you're getting nutrition from that source, and you don't have all that gassing, bloating, and pain and aches and all that stuff. So that's why I said, when you really have to look at enzymes and then overlook at the overall formulation of an enzyme product. And that's why we only have about 8-10 different enzymes. In fact, I think there's 9 different enzymes in our enzyme product now. But we got the gas alpha-galactosidase, that breaks down gas, just literally breaks it down into a vapor. We've got the protease, which is the highest. And this is going to go back to your husband's fasting, too. I wanted to touch on that. So protease enzymes is our highest enzyme ingredient in our entire formula. Why? Because the proteins that we consume in our daily meals are the hardest things that tax our body the most. It makes us so tired, so low in energy, so depleted. And so that intermittent fasting that your husband does, he's not draining because of the meal source. He's not draining all of his energy because he just ate a protein steak, a hamburger, or a chicken breast,
But
whatever
he
it might
doesn't
be.
eat,
Pork chop.
he doesn't eat that because he's vegan.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So anytime you can give your body a break from food consumption, you're literally shutting down the number one energy factor depletion in your entire life each and every day. Nothing consumes more energy than the digestion process, especially a protein-based flesh meal.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're saying is that his body was not digesting food properly.
No, his body genetically lacks specific enzymes that would digest those foods that he has allergic. In fact, when you consume any kind of food, you've heard about food allergies, eggs and pork and chicken and dog food and all kinds of crazy stuff. Anytime you have an allergy to a food substance, your body doesn't produce the enzyme that interacts and breaks down that food substance. That's the bottom line. All allergies in the human body are created because of a deficiency or an inability to produce adequate amounts of a specific enzyme that interacts with that food source.
Okay, but how do you so when people have like constant like nose blockage or allergies or whatever?
Well, but that's what I'm saying. What does the body do when it has a strange substance floating around in it that it can't get rid of? It's going to create mucus. It's going to create inflammation. Remember I said earlier, inflammation is the very first process the body goes to protect itself. It slows the blood. It isolates the organism. Yep, this is all. Are you following the whole thing? It's easy to explain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm following it to an extent because this is all new stuff to me. So I'm like a newbie.
Okay, it's easy. You can ask me anything, and I'll give you the exact explanation as to why it's occurring in the body.
Hey,
why
Ron?
you're reacting that way. Yeah.
Real quick, I just want to interject. One thing that I know, and you haven't touched on yet, but I want to bring it up for Lori and for everyone else as a reminder. I had a lot of intestinal gas and bloating from the lactose. And obviously the enzyme lactase was a deficiency, but there was also something else Ron educated me on that was in the Enriching Gifts formula for plant enzyme, which was galactosidase. So Ron, if you could talk about that, that was helpful for me and maybe it'll be helpful for others.
Yeah, galactosidase is an enzyme because when you have too slow a protein digestion, you're going to have this fermentation of that protein rather than that rapid, quick digestion of that protein. And as proteins ferment, just like a best thing I could do, and the easiest way for you at home to see what fermentation's all about, go buy some ground up hamburger. Doesn't even have to be the expensive, real lean stuff. Get to the 30% fat or 22% fat, whatever it is. But just get like a quarter pound. That's all you need. Put it in a bowl, glass bowl preferably, something with thick glass, and then take and put that in there. Set it in a place where there's near heat, fireplace, a heater vent, in a window, someplace like that where it gets some sun or can generate heat. And then put some saran wrap over top of that, and look at what happens to that hamburger. Not only in color, but it literally turns to black sap. And that's just from all the bacteria that now starts to grow within it because it's just laying around in a near 100-degree body environment. And so what happens is you create a lot of gases released from that. And that gas is coming from the bacteria that's growing because of the meat not being digested. The protein is actually decomposing instead of digesting. Digesting is a more rapid breakdown. Decomposing is just a very slow fermentation process. And so what happens is you're going to see that saran wrap bubble up. It'll actually pop right off of that bowl. It won't even stick anymore because the gas from that hamburger is created. And you can do all of this in less than 48 hours.
Well, gosh, that makes you want to become a vegetarian.
Well, it should. If you're really truly living to eat rather than eating to live. Eating to live is a whole different scenario than living to eat. Living to eat is all about eat whatever you want because it tastes good. Who cares how it affects the body, if there's nutrition or not. Eating to live isn't going to be so tasteful, but it's a whole different mindset.
Yeah.
And so the galactosidase we put in there because almost everybody, because of enzyme deficiencies, their food's not getting digested, you have inflammation, you have gas, you have bloating, and that gas is what causes the bloating. It's not the inflammation that causes the bloating. The bloating comes from gas because your foods are not being digested because of lack of enzymes. And so what happens is that alpha-galactosidase, that actually breaks down the gas. And you can literally see your tummy go down. You're going to get rid of that bloating, pain and stuff. And you can notice this literally within your first 2-3 meals of taking enzymes. And it's the same thing with acid reflux. Acid reflux, why does your body overproduce acid? Well, again, what do you have to go back to the role of digestion? What role does hydrochloric acid play in the overall digestive process? Does hydrochloric acid actually digest the protein food? No. If it interacted and digested protein, whether it's animal flesh, chicken, beef, turkey, or pork, that's muscle tissue. It would actually digest your stomach as well. Plain and simple. So we know it doesn't digest protein. So if it doesn't digest protein, then why the heck does our body produce it? And why is it only produced and isolated in the acid stomach? Because all protease enzymes that are produced by your pancreas and a couple other organs to do the overall digestion of proteins, they're all acid activated. They will not activate outside of the acid stomach. So you don't have to worry about protease enzymes. Go ahead.
So the enzymes then balance the pH in your body?
No, what balances the pH in your body is calcium.
The calcium.
Calcium neutralizes acid, and that's what the pH is all about, alkalinity, acidity balance.
Which is where the coral calcium comes in.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Well, enzymes, specifically protease enzyme, now don't get me wrong. I mean, this is going to get into a real complicated conversation here real quick if we keep going down this rabbit hole. Because this will take me 10 different ways, and everybody knows how detailed I like to get, way overboard. But protease enzymes, when you're digesting fully your proteins, and they're not coating or mucusing around your red blood cells, causing them to aggregate together in these huge masses called erythrocyte, i.e. layman's term red blood cell, you're not having these mass red blood cells aggregate and stack on top of each other like quarters, known as rouleau, or severe erythrocyte red blood cell aggregation, because that's going to lower the oxygen.
I'm pretty sure you were a shaman in another life.
I don't think so. But anyways, I only believe in this life. And if I was in another life, I had to be a truck driver because I can literally get on the road and drive 1,000 miles without stopping, day after day after day after day.
You know what, Ron?
Anyway.
Belief is not a requirement.
What's that?
Belief in another life is not a requirement. You're going to do it regardless.
Oh,
but
yeah, that's
anyway,
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, that's all I was saying. So protease enzymes can help to alkalize the body, and they do that by not limiting the amount of oxygen that your red blood cells have the ability to pick up and maintain at that 96, 99, 100% level. Because nothing will affect overall alkalinity more than the presence of acid other than low oxygen levels. The lower the oxygen level, the more acidic the body becomes. And the more acidic the body becomes, the less efficient all cellular functioning becomes. So there's two factors to alkalinity. The biggest one is oxygenation, because what are you truly doing in an oxygenated pH? Well, there is no presence of acid. It's like, go ahead and take a litmus strip, put it under your tongue, let your saliva soak into it, then pull it out of your mouth and hold it in the air. After about 3-4 minutes, that's going to go from that yellow or brown all the way up to a purple, which is a pH on a 14 on the pH scale. Well, where's the presence of acid and all this other stuff? It was there initially, but when you took it out and you left it exposed to the oxygen long term, the alkalinity raised because of oxygen, which is exposed to the end of that litmus strip. We didn't take anything. There's no calcium that we use to neutralize the acidity from the saliva. And that's one of the hardest things I can get people to understand, no matter who I'm talking to, even corporate CEOs of all of these nutrition products and stuff. They're so dead set on this, got to take this green, got to take that green to alkalize the body. I can alkalize the body faster than anybody just with calcium and enzymes, proteolytic enzymes. And you just watch the pH, you got that little litmus strip right there. You can literally change it in a matter of 20 minutes to half hour.
I just gave you those today, Lori.
Yeah,
I know.
Same thing. And it's the same thing. I don't just say this stuff. I prove it all the time worldwide. And it's the same thing when Dover was talking about how dramatically it changed his blood in literally a half hour. I can raise anybody's oxygen level. Like your mom is struggling at 93, 92%. Get that little oximeter from Walmart that costs less than $25. That's what reads your oxygen in your index finger and throughout your body. Take that, hook it up. Now take 2 enzymes or 3 enzymes and wait for a half hour. You watch that oxygen, and normally it never takes a half hour. It very rarely even takes 20 minutes. And as long as there's not a big meal, just hold on a second. As long as there's not a big meal just sitting there hanging around in your gut, as long as it's fairly empty, taking those 3 enzymes, you can literally see from an 89, 92, 93, 94, right up to 100% in less than a half hour. And it'll stay there at that percentage until you eat another protein meal, whether it's vegetarian or whether it's meat flesh based. Protein, if it's not fully digested from vegetarian or meat flesh, is going to do nothing but coat up your red blood cells, clog them all up, and that's going to suppress your oxygen uptake.
Wow.
And that's why most people are at low oxygen levels, 93, 92, or even in the mid 80s, 87, 89. And they're chronically this way. That is not healthy. That is an acidic body. You can take your litmus strip, your little alkaline tester. Anybody who has the oxygen below a 95% is acidic. They run hand in hand. One doesn't work without the other one. So, anyways, like I said,
the nurse said, "Yeah, that's good. 92 is good."
No, it's not. And that's a nurse telling you that. Go ask a cardiologist that, and he'll give you a whole different answer.
Okay, hey Ron, this is Sue. I need some clarification on the dosage.
Okay.
A couple years ago, when Greg's doctor wanted to put him on a statin for his cholesterol and triglycerides, and his kidneys were failing in that, you had me giving him 6 enzymes with his meals. And in a matter of 5 weeks, and he had his lab work redone, his doctor was blown away that, oh my God, a statin drug would have never ever done anything like this in 5 weeks.
Right.
His
Right.
kidney numbers improved. So I thought, because the instructions on the plant enzyme, the full strength that calls for 3 capsules before the
Right.
meal, is like the
Right.
maintenance dose. Like, this is what we should take when you don't have chronic problems. So I was thinking that Lori's mom should take more until she got
No.
things under control.
No, it's going to give her diarrhea. It's too much for where her age is at and where her bodily function capabilities are at. I can tell you, I
Okay.
would not give anybody at that age 6 capsules of enzymes, because the first thing you're going to do is you're going to detoxify your internal body. That means all plaque that's oxidized hanging around, all the the cholesterol that's hanging around in your liver and in the blood, anything that's accumulated in a hardened form through the natural oxidative process, because our body is highly oxygen. So you're going to have a very fast hardening process, but your body produces an antioxidant enzyme, which slows down and potentially prevents a lot of that oxidative damage from our use of oxygen every day. It's called superoxide dismutase. But getting back to where you were going, 6 capsules at that age is just way too much. It's going to
Greg was in his
detoxify the hell out of
70s.
you.
He
Well, I
was in
know,
his-
but I'm just
yeah.
Yeah, but that 70 is different than 84.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Good
yeah.
to know. That's why I want to make sure
and
I'm giving the right
60
info
is
out.
different than 70, and 40 is different than 30. I
Yeah.
don't care who it is.
Okay.
Every decade you live, you're going to look back and say, damn, what happened? I'm not near as capable of doing what I used to do today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't even take 6 capsules in any given meal, even if
No,
I'm eating
I
16
mean,
or 18
maintenance.
ounces of
Just
fine wood.
I was thinking, because of the chronic situation, get over the hump for the, first week or two, and then
Well, but that's
down.
right. But that's what I'm saying. So you can't. There's a point to where you can increase and get over the hump. When you first start taking enzymes for the first 2-3 months, that's not the time.
Okay.
Your husband, he was on these things for months before we started going up to these 6 capsules and all that other stuff.
Okay.
Or at least he should have
Yeah,
been.
no.
And
He was taking the regular dose, and you upped it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, like I said, always, just for everybody on the phone call tonight, no matter who you talk to, always start out with one single enzyme, just to make sure your body's not going to have a negative reaction to this really, really high potency in this formula.
Well,
Always.
she just got hers on Saturday.
It's not going to hurt anybody. Yeah, I'm just saying, it's not going to
And
kill
it
anybody.
sounds like
It's not
she's
gonna
already
hurt
improving.
Yeah, she will. She
Yeah.
will. But I'm just saying, whenever you give anybody this product for the first time, only give them 1 capsule. And if they do have a reaction to it, like their stomach feels like it's burning and on fire,
Mhm.
or cramping, well, that's a protease intolerance reaction. Your body is not used to having that kind of high activity in the system. And you've got a lot of damaged tissue where the proteases are trying to interact and digest that tissue, because it's not healthy tissue anymore. It doesn't have a natural enzyme inhibiting property to it anymore. So you can actually get rid. That's one of the reasons why you can get rid of cancer and tumors and shrink tumors and things like that, with just good high proteolytic enzymes.
So then for my mom,
when I trained for the live blood, Dr. Kurt Grange, and I think you told me that you're the one that actually trained him in it.
Yeah, Dr.
Kurt
Grange, yeah,
and,
way back from, yep, I know who he is.
He was with Health Through Nutrition, lived in, because I flew out to Reno, Nevada, and did my first training with him. That had to been close to 20 years ago. And the one thing
I actually trained him. He was with Health Technologies Network first.
Okay.
And that was the first company that I private labeled my
Oh, that's
enzymes
right.
to, the very first
Yeah.
one. Yeah, and that was over 32 years ago.
That's right. Well, he trained me about 20 years ago. And the one thing, when I left that training, it was like almost like a week long. The one thing that stayed with me from him was, he had said if he had to give up every supplement there was,
Right, right.
The one
But he
thing
wouldn't
he
give up
would
enzymes.
never give up was the digestive enzymes.
Right, and that's what he learned from me. That's what
Yes.
all of these microscopists around the world learned from me. You know, and a lot of people don't know this, but way back in the 1990s, there was no microscopy. Not even Ed Hoyt's company, Infinity, where Doug Grant brought the microscope to that company, and they just took off and made the Daily Digest supplement and all that. Well, those are my formulas. Doug Grant and I and another guy by the name of Leon, we all started the enzyme industry with that microscope. We're one of the very first ones to use it as a tool to actually show the effectiveness after consumed inside the human body. And then there was all these companies that had Pycnogenol and all these other supplements. They tried to say their product give this, give this. I saw my before and after photo of my personal blood screening, and I used that as a picture, and I used to travel all over the United States. And all of a sudden it started showing up on all these other companies' websites. Oh, this is the effects you can see before and after by using our product. And I never even talked to any of the people, let alone even provided them with product. And that's why I got so discouraged with the whole networking aspect early on. Didn't take me but 10 years to figure out this isn't going to go the way I want it to go.
Well, you're talking about how long it had been since you've been to the doctors. I hadn't been to the doctor since 1993. And I still haven't really been to the doctor, but I've been going for some ozone therapy treatments. And I asked the doctor that runs the clinic for the ozone. I said, hey, can I have some lab work done? I hadn't had any lab work done since 93. So she gave me a script to go to the lab. To test for cholesterol, triglycerides, A1C, thyroid, kidneys, liver. Everything.
It's a smack test. It's a full profile test called the SMAC.
Everything, and plus calcium, magnesium, vitamin D. Everything imaginable. Unbelievable. Everything was perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And that's because I don't go to the doctor.
Right. That's a big part of it.
And I'll be 68 in 2 weeks. So I think that's pretty good.
Oh, it's absolutely good. Anytime you can hit near perfect with anything over the age of 35, we're all doing good.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Lori, let's finish up with you real quick and then move on to this call because I think we got a couple other people who have some questions.
Yeah, sure.
Anything else you wanted to ask about real quick?
No, I don't think so. I think you've answered everything. Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm a little overwhelmed with all of your products and what to take and when and who for what.
Well, not that, but I know you got to have a headache by the time you go to bed tonight trying to remember all of this stuff.
Right, exactly.
The nice thing is this call is recorded. You can go back over it when you got a little bit of leisure time. You can listen to it over and over and over, and you'll really learn a lot from this call tonight. I'm really excited and glad we had this call. A lot of really good information being exchanged here tonight. And earlier when you said you were all worried about one person dominating the call, the point I was trying to make to you, I don't care who it is. Every single person on this call gets an education from the conversation I'm having, no matter who it's with. And that's the purpose of these calls, is to educate people, empower people through education to take control of their own life and their own bodies. That's the purpose of calls each and every week. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Anybody else have a question that they wanted to ask on the call tonight? Anybody?
Yeah, Ron, this is Kaulana.
Yeah.
I just had a quick question. So I also was looking into taking, have you heard of CMOS? I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Is that something that I need to take, or do I get enough of anything I need with the algae and the other things?
The vitamin have that and way more than that other stuff. You'd be much better going off with the complete vitamin plus.
Okay, so I wouldn't have to take another Irish sea moss supplement, or we got one from Zanzibar, Africa. No need.
No.
Okay.
No.
Right on.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
And that's the next thing. I'm glad that you guys are asking these questions, because so many people, especially when I used to go around with our big motorhome bus, our 45-foot motorhome, and do blood analysis all over America. people would bring in literally bags, those big, like cloth bags that you put your food in at the grocery store and stuff. Just bags and bags and bags of, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think? And all I kept saying was, I think you're overdoing it way too much. You must have wasted a couple $1,000 here every month. And that's what I don't want people to do, because I don't care what nutrition source it is, what nutrition company it comes from, and that even includes your daily meals from Albertsons. Everything you put through the body that's got to be digested, and it takes energy away from the body, every single thing you digest.
Right.
So just kind of minimize what you need to take. Find something that's more full spectrum, more complete, because take vitamin D individually, take vitamin C, vitamin B12, calcium individually. That's a waste of time. And I say it's a waste of time because B12 without folic acid doesn't work. Calcium without magnesium and vitamin D3 doesn't work. Everything has been accounted for, cofactor wise, synergistic use, everything that I've been accounted for in that complete vitamin plus.
Yep, order's on its way. Can't wait.
Nutrition, right? Plus the nutrition that goes beyond the daily recommended allowances.
Right on. I appreciate it. Yeah, because they said the Irish moss has like 92 trace minerals, but I know we have 77 ionic minerals in the stuff you have already.
And you want to know something? How many trace minerals have been proven to be beneficial or a necessity to human cellular functioning? How many minerals does the human body require to function at its most optimal genetic programming level? Can anybody tell me?
No.
63. All the rest of this stuff, you can take it because it's safe. It's shown to be non-toxic, but they've never identified an enzyme or a cellular functioning process in the metabolic role that's ever shown to activate or use these different minerals. So again, trying to get into 92 minerals, 77 minerals, anything above 63, you're just guessing. It's never been established that it has functionality in the human body, ever.
Yeah, perfect. That's all I needed to know, because I'm not going to order it now. So I'm just going to stick with the enriching gifts. Yeah, right on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Save your money. I'm not saying that all this stuff is bad. I'm just saying don't do it 2-3 times from different sources and different companies. There's no need for that. And then here's another thing, and I'm going to tell you what, I'll give somebody $50 if they can answer this question. This I know I haven't talked about in literally decades. And I used to talk to it with the bodybuilders and athletes, and I'm trying to think of that Dallas Cowboy coach, Roger Staubach. He used to be the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. And now he's the coach for the indoor Arizona arena football team down in Phoenix, Arizona, or at least he used to be 20 years ago. Anyway, I asked him one time, I said, with all of these people consuming all this nutrition and everything else, all these protein powders, all these vitamins and this and that, and even your everyday ordinary meal, can anybody tell me how many grams the human body has the capacity of absorbing in any given 1 hour time frame? Any given hour, how many grams of nutrition can the human body absorb? Grams.
Is it 30?
No.
Okay.
Anybody else want to guess? We're at $50. Now, keep in perspective, 28 grams is an ounce. So do you think the human body can absorb more than 1 ounce out of that 14, 16 ounces you just consumed in a McDonald's half-pound cheeseburger?
Okay. No.
So I'm going to tell you the answer if nobody's going to step up and guess. Well, I guess I saved $50 tonight. The human body, even in an athlete that has the fastest metabolism known, can never absorb more than 18 to 22 grams of anything in any given hour. So what does that mean? You just sat down and you probably ate at least 16 to 24 ounces of food substance. Ounces. 28 grams equals 1 ounce. So you're only absorbing about 3/4 of 1 ounce out of whatever you eat in any hour. And within 4 to 5 hours, it's well into the large intestine where minimal absorption is going to occur from anything that's left. So that's why they say when you go to eating protein, always take a digestive enzyme, because it's not in the body long enough to actually support muscle maintenance and tissue growth of muscle tissue. And enzymes dramatically accelerate the breakdown as well as the absorption. And like I said, we actually done a study at University of Rhode Island Medical Center in October '94 with Dr. Atif Awad as our attending physician. And we actually give, I think it was 81 people, 2 servings of sirloin steak. And I think there were either 4 or 6 ounces. It's either one or the other. I can't remember exactly. I mean, it's a lot of years ago. But anyway, I can remember the numbers. We could actually increase the digestion, the time that it took to get from the protein breakdown from the sirloin steak source. We actually increased that breakdown time 243% faster than the body could do it on its own.
Wow.
As a result of that, faster breakdown, we were able to increase free-form amino acids by 525%, and we increased branch-chain amino acids 723%.
Wow. So always right before you eat, right? Always take right 2 minutes before you eat, right?
My formula, always just before you eat the meal. Don't try to cover up the enzymes and think you're going to work from the bottom down. No, your food, you want the enzymes down below the food, so the enzymes are waiting for the food. So digestion starts immediately. And so many people say, well, oh, geez, I forgot to take it before the meal. Can I take it after the meal? Yes, but 2 things are wrong with that. One, you're not going to get nearly the benefits and the breakdown percentage of the food source. 2, the reason you take enzymes is to conserve your own body's production and use of its own metabolic or its genetic production enzymes.
Yeah, when it gets
because if we can get enzymes done with the outside source capsules, the majority of it, then that means that we're going to have preservation of the enzymes our body can produce years and decades, which means a longer lifespan. Because now they're finding out that the number one factor that shortens the lifespan or determines the lifespan is how much energy is expended through the digestive process while that person was alive.
Yeah, so it's not what you eat. It's not what you eat. It's what. So it's not what you eat. It's what you digest, huh? Yeah.
Well, the more calories you consume, the more depleted your body's going to get, and the shorter lifespan you're going to have. Yeah. So.
And I take 2. I take 2 every meal. So is that? I mean, or should I be doing the 3? Because I've been taking it for a long time.
Yeah, Kalana, it really just depends upon what are you eating, first of all, is at least half the meal or more meat, flesh, protein. And then how many ounces of protein are you actually consuming in that meal? Because I can tell you, if you're eating meat, flesh, and what I mean by that is chicken, beef, turkey, pork, lamb, any of that meat stuff, one of our capsules is only going to digest about 2 to 2.5 ounces of any given meat, flesh, protein. One capsule. And a lot of people, they'll eat way more than 16 ounces, 14 ounces in a single meal. So you don't want to take all the enzymes to digest all the protein you're consuming, but you definitely want to take at least half of the enzymes. So say, for example, you're eating 16-ounce prime rib steak. So 16 ounces, okay, so we can digest 2 to 2.5 ounces. We're not going to digest 2.5 ounces of prime rib. That's where the 2 ounces come in. And that 2.5 can be the turkey, the breast meat, and as well as chicken, the breast meat. When you get into the legs, that's a much denser muscle tissue, and it's harder to break down, going to take more enzymes to digest that. So just think about this. If we were to take and get 50% of what we consumed, so there's 16 ounces, we're only going to digest 2 ounces per capsule, and we want to digest at least 50%. So that's 8 ounces. So you're going to end up using at least 4 capsules just to digest a 16-ounce prime rib steak.
Okay.
And
yeah, usually I just eat
turkey. What I just said. Yeah, go back and listen to what I just said repeatedly, so you kind of get an idea what 4 ounces of McDonald's cheeseburger looks like. And always remember to digest the protein, and especially for Laura and her husband, it's a vegetarian. You know, vegetarians, they still have ounces of protein in them. Now, that's where you're going to get the 2.5 ounces. If you go to vegetarian type proteins, it doesn't take near as much enzymes to digest a protein plant-based as opposed to an animal-based protein. You're gonna get a lot more digestion, but when I say a lot more, it's not even 25% more, but it is more. So you can take less capsules to digest plant protein than opposed to taking more capsules to digest animal protein.
And then that would be right before I eat, right? So do I take any on top or just all before?
Always just before you consume the meal. And I'm not talking 10, 15 minutes. I'm talking 10, 15 seconds. Swallow your capsules, limit your water when you take your meal. Do not take a lot of water. I don't even want to see a 4-ounce glass sitting on your table during mealtime eating, because that dilutes your stomach acids. And most people don't drink hot water. They drink iced water like a Coca-Cola or some kind of soft. That actually lowers the body's temperature, which shuts off your digestive enzymes that your body produces. It even slows down and shuts off my enzymes, which have a much broader temperature range of activation and spectrum than what your body produces. But it'll even shut down and slow mine way down, where you're not getting anywhere near the enzyme activity and benefit. So stay away from the water consumption at all during a meal. Don't take it 15 minutes before or 15 minutes after your last bite of food. Always let that half hour after you're done eating, 15 minutes before. And if you have to drink water, make sure that it's warm water, like a tea or something like that, like a Chinese tea or something. Don't drink cold water or even room temperature. Room temperature is usually about 70, 75 degrees. Last time I checked in the physician's desk reference, 98.6 is normal body temperature. Even somebody with Hashimoto's and thyroid problems still have body temperatures 93, 94 degrees. So 70 degrees is still, 80, 90, 22 degrees, 24 degrees cooler. So the bottom line is just don't do it.
Yeah, good to know.
It's not a
Thank you.
Do. Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah.
Ron,
Hydration is not during mealtime. It's and early in the morning, especially right after your meal, about an hour afterwards.
Perfect.
Yep. Sue, was it? Somebody had a question? Somebody was saying something?
I had a question. And so my question is so let's say you take the enzyme before your meal. And
always.
Exactly. And so you eat your meal, and then let's say 2 hours later, or how long does the enzymes last? To where if you were going to have something.
Don't think about how long they're going to last. They're going to be used up very, very quickly. They have a certain amount of activity, and when that activity is used up, that's all there is. There's nothing left to be used. And that literally, if you ever saw me do an oatmeal demonstration, by the way, go to enriching.gifts.com. Make sure to spell out enriching gifts with 2 G's. There is an oatmeal test on there. Me and my daughter did the last time I was down in Texas last January. And you're going to see how fast those enzymes work. I can digest an entire glass, a 16-ounce glass of oatmeal to complete liquid from a solid state. I'll turn the glasses upside down. It's not liquidy, not even close to it. It's solid. And I can just add one single little capsule, stir it around, and in 10 to 15 seconds, that's completely digested and liquefied. 10 to 15 seconds. We're not talking about minutes.
Hey, Ron, Lori, and Ron.
Yeah.
I want to share this because, Ron, you talked about something that I think will clear it up if you just go a little deeper dive into it. And I know it's, we've been on for a little while, but bear with us. It's phenomenal. So you talked about activation, something that has always stood with me. And it has to do obviously with the oatmeal test as well with heat, but there's activators. There's external activators for enzymes and there's internal activators for enzymes. Ron, can you talk about that with the heat and the water and the minerals, please?
Well, yeah, like I said, the enzymes don't work on their own. They have to have minerals. And what Dover's talking about is heat. Heat accelerates enzymatic activity. So I said, if you have to drink a liquid with the meal, have a 2-ounce little Chinese tea or something, or maybe 3 ounces, but never go more than 4 ounces anywhere near meal consumption. But have it hot, because if cold ice pop and stuff would deactivate the enzymes, then heat would actually accelerate the enzymes. It would actually be a little bit beneficial because you're raising the heat beyond the internal body's temperature. when you drink coffee and stuff, it's usually around 192, 197 degrees. Hot coffee, which my wife loves, I can't go anywhere near it. Even over 150, it burns literally my tongue tissue. I'm a cat. I need milk. I can't drink anything really hot. Soups, none of that. I can't do what she does. Not even possible. So heat accelerates the enzyme activity, and the faster an enzyme works, the end result is still the same. It just occurs much faster or much slower. And the slower it occurs, because it's a biochemical cascade process, the less efficient the overall enzymatic activity occurs. So don't slow it down ever, because that you're going to get what the body gets when the body temperature goes down to 94, 93, which is Hashimoto's. You're so screwed up emotionally, you can't remember anything. You're so weak, you're so tired, you can't get out of bed. You're all over the place. You don't even remember what planet you're living on, or even sleeping in the bed at night. And that's affected by body temperature. But at the same time, why does your body create a fever? Because it literally accelerates your immune system cell enzymes. You can speed up immune system cell functioning by as much as 1,325% more active within 1 hour of consuming a digestive enzyme and putting it into a warm water or hot water solution. It absorbs real quickly, it accelerates, but even that raise in body temperature from your body creating a fever, that 5 or 6 degrees is all it is. You can actually increase your body, your immune system activity, in some cases by as much as 500 to 700% increase. I didn't say 5 or 10 or 50 or 60, 500 to 700% increase in enzymatic biocascade activity. That's just unbelievable. But there's also a point of no return. You can't go above 107 degrees, because then the enzymes are occurring so fast, the activity, the biochemical reactions, that they're no longer functioning efficiently. And you have what they call enzyme burnout. That's what causes brain damage and death, because the enzymes are so fast, they're no longer efficient at doing their biochemical process. So there is a balance, but you don't want to go cold. Anything below 67, 70 degrees internal body temperature, you're dead beyond all means of recovery from hypothermia. And then you go to the other side, you get too high of a temperature, and that's not even 20 degrees, that's less than 10 degrees, 106, 107, you start experiencing severe enzyme burnout. So is that what you were alluding to, Dover?
It was, but also water, right? So outside factors for enzymes or external would be heat, hydration, right? And what is proper hydration? And then the internal, factors are minerals. And so if you look at the Enriching Gifts brand and you look at the GR8 CF77, which is the great cofactor 77 trace ionic minerals. When you look at these minerals, Ron has a proprietary mineral. And this is not me exposing any secret sauce, like the Colonel's secret recipe. He shared this with everybody. So when you understand minerals, and when you understand, like, let's just say the Orient or the Asian culture, like Ron said, you drink some Chinese tea. Well, what is that? That's heat. That's water. Where here in the Western culture, we drink a cold beverage, a cold ice water, cold glass of milk. For some, you might drink a cold beer. You're drinking a beverage that's not room temperature or above. So that always stood out to me, the water, because if you're not drinking half your body weight in ounces of water on a daily basis, technically you're not properly hydrated.
No.
So look at everything in nature. And Ron introduced me to a book many years ago. It's called Enzymes, the Fountain of Life. And Ron, you can go into that and tell him who that is. However, what I got a lot. Enzymes need activators, minerals internally, and then the external factors, heat and water. So if you're dehydrated, if you're drinking a cold beverage, they're not activating. And so that hit me very, very hard years ago, Ron, and I think we kind of overlooked the basics. You've probably forgot more than most of us have ever learned in this arena. And so I just want to bring that out of you because we have some guests online and some people dealing with some challenges that I think they really need to know that. It's very, very powerful.
So
Yeah.
real quick, and that's awesome. Real quick before you, so when you're eating, you don't drink, but right after you're done eating, if you want to take your supplements, you can drink a little bit of water just to take that, though, right?
Well, why are you taking your supplements after the meal? You should be taking them with your enzyme before the meal, with the exception of the calcium and the Steromax. Steromax are only taken one single time a day, and that's 1 hour in the morning on an empty stomach. They have to be consumed on the most potential time of complete emptiness in the stomach, and that's
perfect.
first hour when you get up in the morning. Even if
So
you
all
had a
the other,
nighttime
because I take the LOAce Max, I take the enzymes, I take the probiotics. So all that at the same time as you take the enzymes. Okay, perfect.
Absolutely. Take all your supplements with your enzyme before the meal.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah.
Like I said, the only two exceptions to that is the calcium and the Steromax. Everything else can be consumed with the meal. So no reason to be drinking water after the meal.
Okay, perfect.
Hey,
Thank you.
Hey, Ron, what about taking, is there any benefit to taking an enzyme or two in between meals?
Yeah, that you must have missed part of the early part of the call.
I did. I didn't get on at the very beginning.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we talked about that in the call tonight.
Okay.
I'll be real quick, but go back and listen to the call. You're going to get a great lot of information because that's the only way you're going to be able to use the enzyme, the proteolytic enzymes in the formula to actually reduce inflammation throughout the body. And it's a great way to reduce inflammation and swelling.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. It sounded, I mean, just putting two and two together, I was thinking, why not do it in between meals and work on the inflammation for that?
Yeah, because if you're diabetic, which about 40% of America is pre-diabetic or actually diagnosed diabetic, they're estimating that about 40%, a little less than 60 million people now actually are living as diabetics and don't even know it because they don't test their blood sugar. They don't have regular blood tests at the doctor's office. And one of the primary things in any diabetic is inflammation. And the inflammation is caused by the blood glucose breaking down the myelin sheath, which is the outer wall of the nerve tissue. And so that starts the short fire, and that creates tremendous inflammation and swelling. And so this is one of the best ways for anybody that's a diabetic to actually try to get control over some of that inflammation. Take it in between the meals. And don't take more than a couple. You don't need 3, 4, 6. You don't need that many. This is a really, really high activity formula. And I'm telling you, more is not better more often than not. If it's properly formulated, it should be easily assimilated, minimal amount of energy, and you should not need that much if it's got a high potency formula and a good formula to it. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Well, Dover, I think we've had a great call tonight. I think we'll probably just go ahead and end it. I want to say thank you to everybody that came on the call tonight. We got a lot of new people. So welcome to all of you guys. Hopefully you found this interesting, beneficial. And if you did, we always invite you to invite other people that are struggling with their health, that really need answers outside of just a whole bunch of drug prescriptions, or you're struggling to the point where you're on a bunch of drugs, you're not getting better, and the doctor says, well, it's all in your head, go home and deal with it. No, there's an answer for everything. You're just not talking to the right people. So that's why we do these calls. And I just want to say thanks to everybody. And most importantly, thanks again, Dover. You're such an integral part of this conversation each and every week. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ron.
Likewise, Ron. Appreciate you. Thank you, everyone. This has been fantastic.
Thank you, everybody.
Aloha, guys.
We'll see you next week. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.